How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. Today, we're going to discuss the prospect of building a super rotation for this Yankee team. Now, at the end of the day, the Yankees have enough money to spend. They can go and get Aaron Judge. They can go get Verlander or deGrom or whoever it might be. And right now, they have an opportunity to really build something special in that starting rotation. We only lost Jameson Taillon. He's a replaceable guy. You have Frankie Montas coming back. You have Severino still here on a one-year deal. You still, the player option for $15 million. You still got Garrett Cole, still got Nestor Cortez. So really nice, really great core, honestly, of players. And if you add another top-tier arm to that, there's a really good argument to make that is probably the best rotation in baseball. If you add a Verlander, if you add a deGrom, they're legitimately intimidating. You know what I mean? Like postseason, very intimidating. Regular season, dominant across the board. When Frankie Montas is your number 5, I think you have a pretty good problem on your hands. So I think that right now, General Manager Brian Cashman, if Steinbrenner is willing to be aggressive, and it seems like the San Francisco Giants are looking at Kodai Senga as a potential solution in their rotation, on top of adding Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge wants teams, whoever he goes to, he wants them to continue spending and being aggressive to build a World Series caliber roster. So the Yankees must be willing to do the same. And if that's the case, they can really find themselves building a really great rotation, just littered with talent. So, Ryan, when you're looking at what the Yankees could do you think this is an opportunity to do that, right? It's not like they need multiple starters. They need one big name to really solidify this thing for the next couple of years and make it elite. Do you think that's something that you'd be willing to do? Just, spend the money, even if it's higher money in lower years? I think that might be more attractive with Josh Donaldson's deal coming off the books next year, one way or another.
Yeah, so, as you mentioned, the Yankees already have a great 1 through 4. I think that, you'd put that 1 through 4 and stack it up against almost any 1 through 4 in baseball, at least in the current form, and as you mentioned, I mean, it's you're looking at the rotation as, if we're going to go out and we're going to invest serious monetary assets into our rotation, it should be for someone who takes this and makes this not just one of the better rotations in baseball, but historically great, right? When you talk about adding a deGrom, a Verlander, Rodon, you're talking about taking a rotation that's very good and is probably going to finish top 5 if everything played out kind of how it should, even when accounting for injuries. The Yankees could go from that to, hey, this could potentially be the greatest rotation in franchise history. Verlander and deGrom are obviously, deGrom's the biggest injury risk. Verlander is an age risk. And there's a lot that would be a high AAV shorter term deal. Maybe the Yankees are more interested in, less AAV and a little bit more years, like a guy like Rodon, who, I mean, we're not talking about a drop off in production here. Carlos Rodon led all of baseball last season in FWAR with a 6.2 FWAR. These are 3 of the best pitchers in baseball. Anywhere, in any shape or form, if these guys aren't in the top 10 or 15 of your starting pitching lists, you're wrong, right? And I sometimes I do speak in, I do exaggerate a little bit, but in terms of, saying that these guys would, adding one of these pitchers would make this probably the best rotation in franchise history, I don't think is an exaggeration. Obviously injuries can happen, things of that nature, so you can't say for certain, but on paper, I mean, this team would be loaded. If the Yankees are able to supplement with their young talent and, getting good value in the free agent market offensively, and bringing back Judge, they'll have a good enough offense that, that pitching is going to be so good that it's going to be nearly impossible to beat these guys. I feel like the guy I'm more interested in and most interested in terms of the blend between, being very good, trusting that they're not going to get hurt to a certain extent. I think it's Rodon, right? Verlander, I think, is the most surefire option to pitch 200 innings next season or make 30 plus starts next season. But I would also say that I think the Dodgers or the Mets are a team that suits the, hey, we'll give you like $45 million for 3 years if you pitch for us. I don't think the Yankees are necessarily looking to shell $45 million a year or $40 million a year into a starting pitcher, whereas Rodon's AAV is going to sit under $30 million, right? Look at a Kevin Gausman type contract. Definitely a little bit more than that, but definitely nothing, super crazy, nothing like $30 plus million a year. Could the Yankees fall into kind of how we've been talking about Bogarts, where it's like, okay, Correa and Turner are probably going to be a $30 plus million AAV investment, $300 million players potentially, maybe hitting into that second tier financially in terms of annual average annual salary. Maybe that benefits the Yankees a little bit more. Could you imagine Rodon? He's someone who he has, the most swings and misses on his fastball. The guy since 2021, who's second? Garrett Cole, right? So you have 2 of the best fastballs in Major League Baseball in the same rotation, a lefty as well. That gives the Yankees 2 lefties in the rotation, Rodon and Cortez, and 3 righties. And I know a lot of people are going to mention, well, how can I trust Montas to pitch next year? If Montas puts up his season stats next year, which is like a 4 ERA, it's basically Jameson Taillon, right? I think he's going to be better than that. I think I think it'd be crazy to set his baseline or his median or his expected production at a 4 ERA. I view Montas as a top 35 to 30 starter in baseball. I think if Vegas were to release odds, which they would never do this because that would be so obscure and weird for like starting pitching WAR. Montas's over-under is going to hit at 30. It's not going to be 50 or, towards where most 4 to 5s lie. He'll lie where most 3 starters are, right? Because that's the caliber pitcher he is. The Yankees traded big assets for him for a reason. I think it's crazy to write him off as a Sonny Gray or a, J.A. Happ situation. Look at J.A. Happ. When in 2018, he dominated for us, and the next year he was terrible. I think you got to give him a full season, fully healthy. And, this team definitely, if they can go out and get one of those top free agent starters, are going to have the best rotation in franchise history. And they're going to dominate they can dominate through a postseason just with their pitching.
Yeah, so when you're looking at what the Yankees might go after, if they were going to go in this direction, you're looking at more so, are you going to go for the years, lower AAV? Or are you going to go for, the fewer amount of years and higher money? Justin Verlander said he wants a Max Scherzer type of deal, 40 plus million over 3 years. That seems a little bit egregious to me. I don't think that that's reasonable for a 39-year-old. Yes, he just won the Cy Young Award, but really got batted around in the postseason, ran out of gas toward the end. So do I think that I'm willing to give Verlander $43 million per season for 3 years? No, I'm not. I'm not going to go that high personally. I'd rather go with deGrom, who definitely has a little bit more of an injury situation going on now. Hasn't pitched over 100 innings in 3 years, but you probably could get him at a little bit cheaper than that, maybe like low 30s for 3 years. And I think I would rather go in that direction because deGrom, when healthy, if they could get him back to normal, he's, in my opinion, he's more than capable of pitching better than Verlander, and he's younger too. I think he's 34. So, deGrom, in my opinion, I think is the better option. But who would you rather spend money on? If you have to decide between deGrom, Verlander, and deGrom's gonna, let's say the years are similar, let's say three years, and deGrom's coming in at like 32, 33, maybe a little bit more than that, and then you have Verlander who's demanding 40, and someone probably will give it to him, just for his quality, and especially with how little the Astros spend across the board in pitching to begin with, they could probably afford it. Maybe he gets it at 39, 38. Like, are you going with deGrom or Verlander, even though Verlander is a little bit older and just wanting a Cy Young Award?
I mean, this is a tough choice because you're going based off, we're asking, is deGrom going to be healthy enough to make enough starts to be better than Verlander through a full season? And also, is he going to be available in the postseason? I think those are 2 big questions that, anyone can ask and say, okay, because of those reasons, I'll go with Verlander. I'll go with the upside. I'll take Jacob deGrom. The way I see it is, the upside is that Jacob deGrom goes out and wins the Cy Young and Garrett Cole second in Cy Young voting. And there's a difference between, I know Verlander just won the Cy Young, but there's just a difference between Jacob deGrom over a full season and any other pitcher over a full season, right? Jacob deGrom has been injured in 2 of the last 5 seasons, and he still leads all pitchers in WAR since 2018. He is by far on a per rate basis, not even close. It's not a debate. This isn't remotely close. This isn't even, this is monumental difference between Jacob deGrom and everyone else on a per rate basis. But obviously volume matters, being healthy matters, but I mean, good God, Jacob deGrom and Garrett Cole in the same rotation. Could you just think about it, right? Jacob deGrom in any rotation. It's not like, Garrett Cole becomes your 2 starter. I think if you sign Verlander, Garrett Cole is still your ace, right? I know Verlander just came off of Cy Young, but when you're projecting, performance for 2023, I think it's hard to say that Garrett Cole, who has better stuff and is younger and is still in the prime of his career, is going to be worse than Justin Verlander. Whereas Jacob deGrom, I am confident no matter what happens, no matter, it doesn't matter that he's 34 because his stuff is so much better than every other pitcher that if Jacob deGrom is healthy, I love Garrett Cole. I absolutely adore him, but Jacob deGrom is better than Garrett Cole on a per rate basis. That's not debatable, right? Could you imagine Garrett Cole's your number 2 starter? I can't even fathom how talented of a rotation that blows. Scherzer and deGrom was this. You put them up there with any other duo in baseball history. deGrom and Cole would surpass that, right? So, it's just the upside, right? The type of stuff you dream about, right? Where you're just like, good God, walk into a postseason series, deGrom, Cole. That's you won games 1 and game 2. I hate to exaggerate again, but game 1 and game 2, the other team is not favored to win either of those games. The Yankees are going to be heavy favorites, and also you're going to be matching Garrett Cole from a team's number 2. If the Astros aren't to sign Verlander, their number 2 starters, maybe France McCullers, Christian Javier, Garrett Cole's better than those 2 pitchers. So if Jacob deGrom faces off against Valdez in game 2, it's Cole versus Javier or McCullers. Yeah, I'll take Garrett Cole, and I'll take him in a heartbeat. So you put yourself in a great position to win any postseason series. You put yourself in a great position to do a lot of special things in the postseason. Not saying Verlander doesn't give you that, but just that the upside with deGrom is you have literally the greatest duo we'll ever see, and it may be in history.
And I like that word, in history, which would be pretty fun for the Yankees to have some of the best pitchers, one of the best duos in the history of the game. And Steinbrenner and Cashman have an opportunity to do that. You know what I mean? Like, they have an opportunity to build something special, like truly, truly remarkably special. And it seems like that's not going to happen if they pinch pennies. But at the end of the day, it's their money. It's not, or rather, it's Steinbrenner's money. It's not ours. We can tell him how to spend his money all the time. But it seems like he has a pretty profitable team, and he could do that if he wanted to. But we discussed this yesterday. But nonetheless, guys, I'd love to hear your perspectives below in the YouTube comments about this idea, building the super rotation. Who would you prefer, Verlander, Rodon, Senga, or even deGrom? A lot of tier 1 options on the board for this Yankee team. And we'll see how aggressive they are, but always happy to hear perspectives below. So make sure to like, subscribe as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.